This year's hunt was special. 2 tags, my elk tag and Cole's mule deer tag. I can't believe I got that close without spooking him the whole time.
Both are shooters. Holy smokes. This was the first mule deer hunt that Justus and I have ever been on. And really the story behind this hunt started way before the season even kicked off. We went and picked up our friend Justin from the airport, and I had a couple spots that I had picked out that I thought might hold some deer.
We had a lot of fun scouting. You are taking the time to enjoy it and slow down and observe the animals and study their movements and see where they go at night. And so it was just really cool to be able to experience that and absorb that knowledge.
I've always had a dream of coming up here and shooting a mule deer with a bow, but I really wanted to do it in a very specific way. I wanted to play way up in the high country in the early season, and these deer are still in velvet. It's especially alluring in Colorado when these deer are so high. In some cases, they're above 12,000 feet.
I know I'd be tempted to make a move, but I don't know what the move would be.
Done countless hours of research online, but that can only take you so far. More importantly, is you gotta get your boots on the ground. You gotta go up these trails and drive down these logging roads just to really know what's actually in all of this country. Oh my gosh, Justus, come here. Dude, that's a giant. He's like, whoa. Let's go. Good spot, dude, let's go.
In this unit, we saw a ton of big muleys, and we scoured the entire unit, high and low. It was really cool to be able to kind of lay a map out in our minds of where sign is, where the muleys are.
We got Justin cooking up some mushrooms here. And we got my lovely wife cooking up. What you got?
Cutting up some garlic and onions, and we're making spaghetti.
Spaghetti on the mountaintop. I mean, look at this. We spent a few days in there scouting, and we hopped around to a couple different basins, and you know, we were actually able to go fish an alpine lake up there. And Justin was able to hook into a couple giant cutthroats up in these alpine lakes that were just strikingly beautiful. And man, it was just good to be with really good company and eating good food up in the mountains and just spending our evenings glassing away. It's really a lot of fun. It's day one. We're like 10 minutes into it, and we've already got a bunch of mule deer does. Let's see if any bugs follow them out. Probably not, with them being bachelored up, but we're definitely in the thick of them right now. Oh. All right, we got 2 shooters. This was really a dream trip for Justus and I. And to be able to do it on this crazy project that we have going on for the 50-state pursuit is awesome. Justus has an elk tag, I have a mule deer tag, and we've got about 20 days to kill up here in the mountains. We're just gonna try to get it done. And I love trips like this where there's no real hard set plan. We're gonna mule deer hunt first on opening day and let the rut kind of kick in a little bit more for the elk. And we were hoping that we could get this mule deer hunt done in a couple of days. All right, we've got a bedded buck sitting up on top of this. We're gonna have to go up and around and get over the top of him. So, gotta make a move. Let's do this.
We actually found a bedded buck, And so Cole moved in, had an idea of where he was, but we weren't sure. And Cole was like, man, I thought he was right here. Like, I don't know where he is. He decided to stand up on this rock and draw where he thought he was. And as soon as he stood up, the buck takes off. What just happened?
He was right there.
Did you spook him by standing up there? This would have worked.
Sorry. We got within 15 yards of a nice little buck this morning, and he was just in like 6 foot tall willows. We had my pin on him at 20 yards. I would have to shoot through some brush, so I didn't let it fly. But not a bad start. Wrong unit.
Hunting mule deer and it's elky up here. And then that confirmed it.
So elky up here.
Smells.
It smells.
I can't believe that. It's right freaking there.
That's awesome.
Why are we not in Genesis?
That was amazing. What do you think that was like? That's like 40 yards. 40 to 50 yards. That was, I think, I'll have to look back at the footage, but I think it was a 6x7. And we're over here mule deer hunting. Do you want to just, she's got an elk tag, but in a different unit that we're going to go to after I hopefully shoot a mule deer. So that was just torture. My dad had actually made the drive up on day one, and getting to hunt with your wife and your dad up in the mountains like this is a special thing. And it's not something that we ever take for granted. I mean, you only have so many seasons in your life that you get to go do this. And that makes you count them. It makes you count them closely. You know, I may only have 50 more seasons in my life to go and hunt up in the mountains. Went back up into our same glassing spot, and sure enough, we spotted another deer. He was about 1.5 miles away.
Cole gets up and he was like, I'm going. And I was like, okay.
Mountain, got a mule deer bedded up there. Round 4. Hopefully I don't get my tail kicked this time. Wish me luck.
So he goes up, we're watching him, and we're flagging him in. We're going, you know, right up, like. So we get him in, and then we see him freeze, and I'm like, okay, either he's spotted, something's happening right now. And so I just kept watching, and he stood there for what, maybe 30 minutes. I don't know if it was actually 30 minutes, but it felt like an hour.
And all I see is just antler tips right over the top of the willows where he was bedded down. 8, 9, 10 yards, whatever I was at, it was really, really close. So I decided, all right, I'm gonna draw my bow back and then whistle at the deer and see if I can get him to stand up so I can get a good clean shot over the top of the willows. And so I do that, and the deer stands up but looks directly at me. So all I have is this frontal shot. It's like, I can make that shot. And that's what I did.
Let's go! Hold a shot of mule deer, babe. Let's go. Let's go get it.
Oh my gosh, can you believe that?
No, I can't.
10 yards. What? 10 yards. I didn't tell though, because you had pointed me like up. I was like, okay. But there was like 6-foot willows in between me and him, or where I thought he was. And so I was like, all right, I gotta go all the way back down and around. And I got into this little elevation cut, and learning off of the last stocks, because you just gotta come out here and do it. I was like, if you're gonna be wrong high. Because you can always shoot down, but it's way harder to shoot up through bushes and stuff.
And wind.
At least, but it turns out when I went up, that was actually the elevation that he was on. It was awesome. 10 yards. 10 yards? Yeah.
He was on him that whole time.
Didn't get him the rangefinder.
You didn't even need it.
I'm glad you're here.
That was a great
All the way up and around there.
Right there.
Oh my. 12,000 feet. Did it? It did not look this big. No, not at all. How many generations, Dad?
At least 3.
So Granddad, then you. So Granddad probably has skinned a couple mule deer with this exact knife 40 years ago. It's didn't it used to be like way bigger? It's been sharpened all the way down to that. It barely fits your sheath. Stake that's in. Good afternoon, everybody. We just finished up our mule deer hunt. We had to say goodbye to my dad. Loaded down the backpacks, a little bit different type of hunt. We're gonna be going after some elk. Got 9 days of food, 9 days of supplies up in the old packs. Probably could stretch it to 10 if we need to. We met some hunters down there at the trailhead, said there wasn't very much activity, but never know. Some people sleep in, miss the good stuff. We aren't gonna get discouraged. Last year she passed on a cow and regretted it, but she's back on the bulls now, so, which I get it. Which, honestly, we've got 9 days. Yeah. I think we can make it happen. So, here we go.
The first night we slept up on top. We glassed this whole valley and we were hearing bugles and we saw cows and it was very lively and we were really excited. We are glassing from a high point where we can see all 3 valleys and we're currently seeing some very happy cows and we saw one big bull.
What's his name?
That cold named Piney. Very original.
That's a giant cow. Hey, that bull is moving all the way over this way. We gotta relocate just down the mountain so we can keep eyes on him. Day 2 of hunting for us. Hiked in yesterday. We're still on that same point, glassing up these elk. We think we know where they bedded, but the sun still hasn't come up, and we're just waiting to see what they do in the morning. And we're gonna see if we can't bed them for the afternoon, and then we're gonna figure out a way to drop down and get it done. It didn't take us long to remember just how steep and brutal this country was. I mean, on day 2, we're working through all this beetle kill laydowns and extremely steep country that's so thick. It's just a labor of love, and for all the reasons you hate traveling through that stuff is all the reasons that those elk like being there. We got a bull bugle. We're close in the distance. He's about 150 yards away.
While we were stopped, I saw a flash of white, and then I was like looking at it, and I'm like, call. And there was a bull raking up there, which was what the white flashing was. I drop my bags and I go.
Before I can even say anything, Justus is taking her backpack off and making a move up the hill. And as a husband, getting to watch your wife develop into her own elk hunter, where she's making her own decisions and seeing an opportunity and taking it and doing something that I probably wouldn't have tried to do, is really amazing. And I could not be more proud of just watching her do this and watching her hunt. It was just awesome to watch her develop into her own hunter.
This was the most on I was. I had a game plan. I flank left and I'm going up because I want to try to get a shot at him like this. That's below him because of the wind. And so I'm going up really slow, really quiet. Finally get to a level where I'm happy, and then I'm closing inward. Where I end up, I range him and I'm 27 yards from him. I'm like, okay, that's plenty close. There was other bulls higher up than him that were bugling like crazy.
When we saw him down there, he was raking. So I snuck way up here. I wanted a shot like this. I didn't want to be level with him, but I wanted almost level with an angle, but still under him. And then when I got right there, a bull or another bull, they were bugling as soon as we saw him all over the place. I was like, okay, cool. Thanks, everyone. But a bull or something ran past, so he stopped. And he was then looking around for a while. And I was in a critical spot because I was trying to get my feet right, and I was trying to range him. And so he was.
Did you have a shot at him right there?
This was blocked.
Yeah.
Finally saw one full antler. I think he was a 5x5.
Yeah, he was. He was a nice 5x5.
Yeah, he was tall.
I think he's the one I saw.
Looked right at me. Was looking at you, calling. Looked at me, and I was literally bouncing on one foot because I was on it. I was trying to be still, but he didn't spook. And then you were calling, and he wasn't interested, so he just walked off.
He came to about 40 yards of me, and then just stayed.
So that's why he came down where I couldn't see him then.
When he came down that way.
Dang. Did you hear that freaking weird sound?
Yeah.
That's a Bigfoot if I ever heard one.
Yeah.
That is the closest I'll ever come to believing a Bigfoot.
I can't believe I got that close without spooking him the whole time.
So close.
Also, the bugles. I mean, I don't even know. I think there was a chuckle one, some regular ones, but like I didn't care about any of them. It's like I only care about this bull right here.
I am so proud of my wife. We've been freezing our butts off every single morning. We're like, I don't know, 7 miles in. I don't know how many miles we've walked. I don't know how many days we've been in here either.
I think this is day 4 of hunting.
Day 4 of hunting. We're getting closer. Those bulls are in trouble.
Also, today confirms pre-rut has started.
Yeah, they're a little bit more fired up.
Right, there's a lot of talking.
Yeah, got about 30 minutes of talking.
What time did they start talking? Do you know?
I have no idea. No idea.
It was pretty late.
It was definitely later. Alright guys, we got rained on hard all last night. It is officially foggy. Our plan this morning was the glass, but I don't think that's gonna happen because it is totally fogged out. But I think we're gonna hit a little point where we have a little bit of space. Down in these little valleys, it's not too foggy, and everything's kind of shut up this morning. It sounds like the whole forest is going to sleep, and including us. We're pretty tired. Still have no idea what day of the hunt it is. I think it's wearing on us, but keep on pushing. And it was just hardcore thunderstorm rain, and the temps had just plummeted. This was the beginning of Struggle Fest.
Despite the rain for the next 6 days, we were still hunting hard. We were out there in the rain, soaking wet, freezing, but they weren't moving. They were hunkering down as well, and they did not like the rain. You know, last year we had a huge elk sprint out in the rain, almost like frolicking. That was not the case this year. It was dead silent, no more bugling, no more movement at all. And so it was really, really disheartening to see the whole thing get turned upside down, but that's elk hunting. You gotta adjust and you gotta make a move, make plays, and figure it out.
So after a few days of that, we got another opportunity one of these mornings where snow had hit the top of the mountain and it was just brutally cold. Everything was wet. We're wet. Boots are soaked, pants are soaked. And we found this bull displaying up on top of the mountain. And it was probably, we had about a 600-foot descension down the mountain and then another 1,000-foot ascension up the mountain to go and make a play on this. And we did, and it's through this brutal laydown. We set up a calling setup, and it was so close. So close. And it ended up being my mistake. Got up this morning. It's well below freezing. We've got snow up on the top of the mountains now, completely drenched from head to toe. We managed to spot a bull on the other ridge. Got set up. I just had a bad setup. I never saw him. And Justus said that he was on us and almost immediately, and I couldn't see Justus, or I couldn't see him either. I was kind of below the hill, out of sight, 40 yards. I never saw Justus motion to me she just needed to bring him back left. And it's the worst. When you get up in the morning and you put on your soaking wet pants and your soaking wet socks and your soaking wet boots, all of that for that one opportunity, and a silly mistake of just a bad setup where I couldn't see enough. I don't even know what to say. This girl's worked so hard for this. He ain't been the one to screw it up. You know, we pushed ourselves really hard, and I'm really proud of the way Justus handled herself and the things that we were able to accomplish as a couple. I mean, being out here bow hunting with your wife, It makes you really good communicators. It's about so much more than bow hunting. It's about being tough and resilient and working on our marriage out here. We're under these stressful, hard circumstances, and you have to be intentional about how you talk to each other and being positive with each other, because there was never a time in those 10 days where both of us were negative. And I'm really proud of that, because anytime you get two people being negative together, that's when people quit. That's when you stop trying. But when one of us was having a bad evening where we were just hurting or hungry or cold or whatever it was, the other person was always there to pick that person up. And it went both ways on this trip.
Well, everybody, that was an absolute slog. That's the closest I've ever come to wanting to quit elk hunting. And this woman right here, not gonna happen on her. She is tough as nails.
I think that's another lesson that is going to translate into our marriage outside of this hunt. Colorado is such a special state because it's just one of the greatest opportunities in our country to go western hunt, but you have to be ready to put the work in. Sometimes it doesn't work out the way you think it does, and that's okay. You got to be okay with that. And as we work our way through this project and through the 50-state pursuit, we're going to create more and more of those memories where we look back on it and be like, man, I wish we had done this, or can you believe that we made it through 10 days doing this and living out our backpack? And I don't know how to explain it, but you remember the hardships that you go through, and those end up being the most valuable memories that you make.
So close. That almost worked. So close. So close. Oh my gosh. So 10, 12 yards. I watched this bull pop out right there.
I heard him coming from over there. And maybe that's when he was creeping up right here when you saw him, because I never saw him right here.
The real complication is if you ask me to pick between my successful mule deer hunt and our unsuccessful elk hunt, I would pick our unsuccessful elk hunt 10 out of 10 times. End all be all for me in creating moments and memories within those relationships that give you reason to pause and talk about your friendship. And connection is everything. I mean, that's the way God designed us to be. God designed us to connect with people over experiences. And this is one of the ways that we do it as hunters.
This is what we call a mountain smoothie. Mix it around like that. Give it a good squeeze.